So, good afternoon, everyone. Pleasant afternoon. So, on behalf of the University of the Philippines Baguio Cordillera Studies Center, in cooperation with the Pinecone Movement Incorporated, the Baguio We Want Forum, Sir Optimus International and of Pine City Incorporated, and the All UP Academic Employees Union UP Baguio chapter, welcome to Preserving the Last Forest Patches in the City, the case of the GSIS tree park. Now let me acknowledge first the presence of our guests from different sectors of our community. So we have guests from Baguio Midland Courier. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Thank you very much. We have guests from SLU. Asan po sila? Ayan. From HLURB. Thank you. From ABS-CBN. Okay. From PTV, CEPMO, and from LGU Baguio City. So to formally start our program, may I welcome on stage our Chancellor Raimundo Rovillos for his opening remarks.
Good afternoon, our friends from the media, from non-government organizations and coalitions like the Baguio We Want Forum, which I currently chair. Rita Limalanta is one of the active members. Our friends from other schools, colleagues from UP Baguio, good afternoon. The topic this afternoon is very close to our hearts here at UP Baguio, especially the alumni that participated in planting those trees in ano ba tawag doon? Ano ba tawag talaga? Imelda Forest? Or that patch of tree over there? Tree patch. The Baguio, we call it now GSIS Forest, actually. So, students from high school, UP High School, and UP Baguio participated in planting those trees. I don't know if Vince Cabresa was part of that group. You were, no? He was from UP High, I remember. Herbs, kasama ka ba dyan? Batch mo ba yan? Alcantara. So, that's one reason why in 2011, when we heard the news that there were plans for a corporate takeover of the property and do something different there, like building high-rise condominiums, allegedly by our neighbor, that's also causing noise to us now. So the UP community rallied along with organization, NGOs, and the Bishop's House against that plan. And on hindsight, our friends from media and from government tell me that that was a successful action because of the concerted action of UP community in partnership with the Baguio community. We were able to stop that plan, that hideous plan. So we keep hearing about stories, I don't know, rumors that there are still ongoing plans to do something, to develop that property. So we really have to be vigilant. And part of this vigilance is developing a knowledge-based research on the importance of that prime property in Baguio City. That is why I'm thankful to Cordillera Study Center for heeding our call to do relevant research, relevant in the sense that it will really contribute to the city of Baguio, because after all, we are hosted by our very dear city of Baguio. So through our interdisciplinary research grant, ITRG, that's a grant that we give to faculty of UP Baguio to come together across disciplines and colleges to study an issue, a social and environmental issue from different disciplinary lenses. So one such topic is the GSIS forest patch, which involves two disciplines, from the economics and from biology. And no less than our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, who is an economist and is an expert on natural resource valuation. And our expert in biodiversity, Dr. Jenny Bawanan, came together to look at this study. So we're happy to share with you the results of this completed project under the ITRG of Cordillera Study Center, and we will be happy to hear from you your comments and suggestions on how to make this research relevant to our lives. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat at welcome sa UP Baguio.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Rodriguez. So let me introduce our first speaker for today. Our speaker for today is a full professor of the Department of Biology, teaching invertebrate zoology, ecology, and graduate courses, and the current graduate program coordinator for the Master of Science in Conservation and Restoration Ecology program of the UP Baguio. She obtained her PhD in biology with a concentration on ecology and taxonomy in UP Diliman, and had her postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, USA, focusing on culture and propagation of cone snails. Our lecturer for today has published several articles such as Variability in Populations of Golden Apple Snail, Pomacea canaliculata in Selected Locations from the Philippines, published in 2013. She presented an academic paper entitled Invasive Molluscan Species, a continuing threat to the Philippine environment in the 19th World Congress of Malacology in 2016. Agawad Chancellor Awardee, please welcome Dr. Zenaida G. Bawanan.
Thank you, Dane, and thank you everyone for coming. For this afternoon, I'd like to present to you the result of our study with Dr. Abansi and Mr. Dane Frawley here, who is also our team member for that research. So we've divided the talk into two parts. So the first one will be on the biodiversity and carbon stock assessment, and the next one will be presented by Dr. Abansi. So this will be our presentation, the species richness and carbon stock assessment of the GSIS tree park. Let me first acknowledge several institutions and people who have made this research possible. So first, the Cordillera Study Center, as mentioned earlier by our Chancellor, and this is an interdisciplinary team research and funded by the Cordillera Study Center, and the Government Service Insurance System, who owns the GSIS tree park, and we're thankful because they allowed us to conduct the research, and also the members of the team, Dr. Abansi and Mr. Dane Frawley, Soriano, and also our collaborators who helped in the identification of the plants, Professor Lisel Mactot of the Department of Biology, and Jocelyn Floresca, an ornithologist by hobby. And also our research assistants, Suchumita Banaag, Yvonne Riza Pikpikan, and Jada Abansi, and the rest of the RAs who helped in the setting up of the posters, and Mr. Clarence Bawanan for the video clip editing, and some of my students in the disturbance ecology who contributed their data, and Miss Erlene Ruth Alcantara, can you please stand up to be recognized? She also gave me important documents and photos of the old and the new Baguio City. And Dr. Mida Di Malanta, can you please stand up, ma'am? She also helped in coordinating with the press. That's why we have the press people here. And other collaborators for this forum, as mentioned by Chancellor, the Pinecone Movement, the Suraptimis International, the Baguio We Want Forum, and the AUP. Dr. Hiron, can you please come inside? The president of the AUP. Thank you. So let me start by showing you the old Baguio City. We have here in the audience some people who have seen the grandiose glory of Baguio City back then in 1930s, where we can still see a lot of trees. So you can see in this picture, this is the government center. Dito yung sa may government center, and then dito yata yung sa may UP Baguio, and then ito yung Luneta Hill. So makikita natin yung dami ng mga puno. That was in 1930s. But now, so this is already the view or the current city landscape. So you can see a lot of the buildings that have displaced our trees. So I hope you've heard about the urban heat island. So actually in the cities, you can feel the difference in the temperature. It's hotter when you go to the metropolis or at the heart of kunwari dito sa may Session Road as compared to when you go to the tree park. So this difference in the temperature in the urban is what we call an urban heat island effect. So in some literatures, for instance, you can see that in the rural area, the temperature is lower as compared to the city. So there is 1 to 2 degrees difference. So that is the urban heat island effect. Now what causes the heat island effect? So these are intensified by thermal properties, by the height and the spacing of the buildings, by the production of the waste heat, air pollution, land cover, and also albedo. Now, what is albedo? Albedo is the measure of the amount of the solar energy reflected by the surface. And so if there are a lot of buildings, like what we can see in the city, so the heat is being reflected. That's why it's hotter when you are near the building than when you are near the tree. Now, these various urban environment albedos, some of these may have high reflective roof, like for instance, this high reflective roof can actually reflect 0.6 to 0.7 of heat, whereas compared to a tree, it will absorb the heat. That's why it will have a cooling effect. That's why when you wear dark shirts, for instance, it's hotter inside, but when you wear a white shirt, it's cooler. Kasi nga, the black surfaces can actually absorb the heat. So that is analogous to the urban heat island effect. And so this is an important information for urban landscaping. So that we need to design the urban city in order to reduce the effect of warming. And so the trees are very important. Now, in the 2006 report, I apologize, I don't have the current urban planning report, but you can see here that we only have a small old growth pines. Majority of the landscape in Baguio City is already developed. And for sure, when we look at the current status, the old growth pines would have been cut or reduced into size, and we can also expect that there will only be few pine stands remaining in our landscape.
20%.
Yes, about this is more than 75% na yung developed. So we really have few remaining green spaces. Now, why are we interested in studying the GSIS tree park? First, because it's closest to our university, and we actually bring our students to conduct their ecology classes in the forest tree park, so that they can actually do an extension of what they learn inside the classroom. And we've been allowed by the GSIS tree park to conduct such thing. And it's only about 1.4 hectares, and it's in the heart of the city. That's why it serves as the lung of the city, because it absorbs all of these air pollutants in the city. And it was actually replanted in 1972 by the UP Baguio ROTC during the citywide Baguio Regreening Program. And in 2010, it was adopted by the Suroptimis International, hoping to preserve the pine forest. And as mentioned earlier by Chancellor, there were speculations of planning to convert the forest park into either a condotel, and then eventually there are some speculations that they might convert it into a car park. But on September 3, 2008, there was a movement spearheaded by the University of the Philippines. We formed a human chain surrounding the forest park in order to actually protest these plans of converting the tree park. And we succeeded in that. And we hope that this will be, again, another success in preserving the tree park. Now, the tree parks, just like in any other urban forest, are important to the people. Some of the indirect use values of the parks include the regulation of the microclimate, the facilitation of water retention and the nutrient cycling, restoring mental clarity. So they say that when you look at the trees, that will give you peace of mind rather than looking at the buildings. And that it serves as home to the diverse life forms. And so in our research, we came up with this conceptual framework. So we had these objectives in assessing and providing the baseline data on the species richness, measure the amount of carbon that can be sequestered by the park, and then made a comparative assessment of the temperature and the carbon dioxide level between the tree park and the UPB campus. And we had these processes. These are actually standard protocols that we do in ecological studies. So we did some opportunistic sampling, and we adopted standard allometric equations for the computation of the carbon that can be sequestered by the plants, by the litter, the underbrush, and the soil. And we also use some gadgets like the PASCO wireless temperature and carbon dioxide data loggers, and subjected to statistical analysis to look into the differences in the carbon dioxide emission and the temperature. And our main objective why we did this study is to influence policymakers and the local community to join effort in protecting and in conserving the tree park. So that will be our main objective. Now, what are the findings of our study? So these are the results. We were able to come up with proof that the park is indeed a home to diverse life forms. So we were able to tag about 544 pine stands of the pine trees and 21 agoho trees. But there is already a reduction in the number, because when we were doing a monitoring as early as 2012, there were more than 800 pine trees. In 2016, there are more than 600, and currently there are only 544. And a lot of these are already experiencing some diseases and infestation. So we really have to do something. There are also some guava trees inside the park. Now for the other plants, we were also able to find or document about 49 plants. These were monocots and the dicots, and these are the pictures of the plants that we were able to document, and these are the dicots that we were able to document. So these are just the plants. In terms of the invertebrates, I'm just showing to you some pictures of these invertebrates. So we have majority of the invertebrates that we found were arthropods, or yung mga insects, butterflies. There are a few butterflies and moths, but we also found some mollusks or snails, and then this was an opportunistic sampling. That's why we found also a nematode. So there are at least 35 invertebrate species. Now, what's even more interesting with regards to our findings are the number of birds that actually were spotted in the tree park. So there were a total of 24 species of birds, and these records came from the 2012 up to the recent recordings of the birds. And we found among these birds the brown-headed thrush, the white-eared brown dove, the Philippine hanging parrot, the olive-backed sunbird, the turquoise flycatcher, and the yellowish white-eye. So these are among the birds. And then the nuthatch, the elegant tit, and then the brown shrike, and the Philippine pygmy birds. Now looking at the status of these birds, so you can see here that some of these species are endemic. So when we say endemic, they're only found here in either in the Cordillera or only in the Philippines. Which means that once they are gone, you can no longer find them elsewhere because they are only locally found in our country or in specific region. And some other birds are resident and some are migrant, which means that the GSIS tree park is part of the migratory pathway of these birds. And in the last time that we documented the birds in the GSIS tree park, together with Ms. Jocelyn Floresca, which is also a specialist on bird identification, she was surprised that despite the bird calls that she is using in order to attract the birds, there were only few birds that we were able to document. Actually, there were only 10. And she's saying that the birds are probably disturbed by the noise coming from the SM. Kasi they were saying na yung mga birds daw are already adapted to the noise of the vehicles, but they are more responsive to the noise coming from human. That's why when we do sampling of the birds, we need to be really very cautious, we need to be very silent so that they will come out and show up. Otherwise, they will not show up. And so that can be alarming because among these 24 trees, these are their feeding gills. Majority of them are insectivores, so they can actually regulate the population of the insects. And there are also frugivore, 14% are frugivore, and 24% are omnivore and nectarivore. Now, these kinds of birds are very important because they are agents of dispersal of the seeds. And so once they are disturbed, and once they do not visit anymore these tree patches, then there will be there will also be an impact on the population of plants, especially the trees, because they are important dispersal agents. And we also documented in August 2012 a ground nest, and there was only a single egg in that nest. But this is also an indication that there are some resident birds in the area. It's just difficult for us to identify unless we see the bird nesting on these ground nests. And so these are important findings because we can see the importance of the tree park as a heaven for all of these organisms. Now, how about the forest park and its uses in mitigating our microclimate or as microclimate regulator? So when we talk of regulation of the temperature, so we also talk about biological sequestration. It's all about the trapping of the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Okay? So we can see here that the trees, the underbrush, even the litter, and the soil are actually important carbon sink because they trap the carbon. So instead of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, now they are being trapped. Now, when we are cutting down the trees, then we are releasing the carbon dioxide. So instead of becoming a carbon sink, it becomes a carbon source. So that will again increase the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, in terms of the carbon sequestration, the amount of the carbon that can be sequestered by the trees, now we found 554 pine stands of Pinascaceae and 21 stands of the Casuarina. And then after computing the carbon sequestration, we came up with this data. The total carbon dioxide in terms of kilograms that can be sequestered or trapped by the pine trees amount to 559,719 kilograms. Whereas the agoho or the casuarina was able to trap 142,852 grams of carbon dioxide per year. So that's how much these trees are actually sequestering or trapping the carbon dioxide. And then in terms of the mean carbon sequestered by the underbrush, so there's about 21,527 kilograms, and then 1,327 for the litter, and around 4.28 kilogram of carbon trapped by the soil. So significantly, yung mga trees ang may pinakamaraming na-trap na carbon dioxide. Now, in terms of the difference in the temperature, comparing Baguio, UP Baguio and the tree park, so there is a 0.3 degrees centigrade difference. This may not be statistically significant, but a 1 degree difference in temperature can already mean a lot for organisms with a narrow tolerance to temperature. Because this can affect their chances of surviving, and this can also affect their breeding patterns. This can affect the survival of these organisms. And so this 0.3 degrees difference already matters. Knowing that the proximity of the two areas, the UP Baguio and the GSIS tree park, is very close, and yet you can already see a difference in the temperature. And in terms of the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, there's a significant difference at the probability of 0.05. So the GSIS tree park carbon dioxide in the air only amounts to 452, whereas in UP Baguio, 526. So you can see here that the tree park can actually mitigate or regulate the microclimate by trapping the carbon dioxide and thus reducing the temperature. Now, what was our conclusion? So based on our findings, we can say that the tree park is home for diverse species and provides ecosystem service in the form of microclimate regulation and nutrient cycling, and therefore this warrants protection and conservation. Okay, so other than that, what are the threats to the tree park? Now, these are some of the observations and some data that were provided to us by our students in the disturbance ecology. In one of their studies, they found out that some of the trees are already infested by the Ips calligraphy, or this is a bark beetle. And this can cause the death of the pine trees. And then more than 50% of the trees that are found in the GSIS tree park are already in bad condition. So they are either infested or infested by the fungi, or the crowns are already turning into brown. Some of them are already almost uprooted. So they are already in a bad condition. And so something must really be done. But what are some of the efforts that are being done in order to mitigate all of these disturbances? Now, si Manong Guard, yung forest guard natin doon sa tree park, actually volunteered to do manual weeding. So kinakat niya yung mga grasses kasi sabi niya nahihirapan daw huminga yung mga pine trees. Buti pa sumano, may malasakit dun sa pine trees. And when we do our ecological studies in the pine forest, we also try to collect the garbage. Pero after a day, when we go back, andun na ulit yung mga trashes. Kasi nga, they have access to the tree park dahil walang mga fence. And the environmental office, the Watershed and Water Resource Research Development Extension, were also doing some experiment in the tree park. So they were treating it with a chemical spray, a tree wrap, as you can see here. They've also tried tree injection and application of fertilizer. So they're still monitoring how this would affect the recovery of the pine trees. Now, what can we look forward to knowing all of this? Now, other than those threats to the GSIS tree park, the big corporations are also one of the big threats. Now, some of my students actually created this banner. So they've said, SM disadvantage, we've cut it all, poor you. This was done by Miss Uy and Miss Dominguez in 2012, signed by the concerned, parang own to ng concerned citizen, dialing 911 because we need to rescue our tree park. And so, let me just quote former Councilor Lourdes Tabanda when she said that the rights of the private owner may be regulated by the government if it affects the public welfare. Now, to end up my presentation, I interviewed the forest guard in the GSIS tree park, and this is his take about the forestry park.
Forest Park. 2017, nagkalang dito ma'am nag-buwag ka dito. Kasi observation ko dito yung papintas dito yung Forest Park. Kaya sa bulak dito yung bakit ay fencing. Kaya nangarami lang di report yung bakit yung masak di GSIS about the fence ang galit at tawag. Kasi kahit ito ba ito tamang sa pulak ito dahil first cutter na no mapintas ko pa na ito ay Forest Park. No makaring Forest Park na pinadati yung mga tao, is nalinis ko pa.
For those who cannot understand Ilocano, so basically yung sinasabi ni Manong Guard ay sana daw ay ma-fence nga yung forest park na yan para ma-prevent yung pagpasok ng mga tao na nagdudumi doon sa tree park na yan. So that pag malinis nga daw, kailangan niya ng tree cutter, tree cutter tuloy, yung grass cutter para daw malinis yung forest park para pag may mga tao daw na gustong magbisita, maganda yung tanawin na makikita nila. Hindi puro basura. So yun basically yung sinasabi ni Manong Guard. And to end up, I'd like to invite you to view the posters prepared by my students in Science 11 after the forum. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Bohan, for informative lecture. So, sana po may natutunan tayo ngayong araw on biology and ecology. Ano lang po, share ko lang, nung undergraduate ako dito sa UP Baguio, naging professor ko si Professor Bawanan sa ecology. So every time we go sa GSIS Tree Park, parang civic action na namin to collect trash from the tree park. And then, nung na-hire akong faculty at tinuro ko yung same subject na naging estudyante niya ako before, pinapagawa ko na rin yun sa mga students ko. So, it's a matter of passing the good traits to our new generation. Anyway, so, to introduce our next speaker, so our next speaker is a full professor of the Institute of Management at the University of the Philippines, Baguio. She obtained her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, with concentrations on finance, marketing, and natural resource economics. She has several research articles, including Beyond Prices, the Cultural Economy of Water in the Cordillera Highlands of Northern Philippines, published in the Asia-Pacific Viewpoint. Another research article published on Water International entitled Characterizing Local Water Governance Structure in the Philippines, Results of Water Managers 2013 Survey. She is also a mentor of the Synergia Foundation, which guides local governments on the development of school governing council to improve governance of basic education. Let us all welcome the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of the University of the Philippines, Baguio, Professor Corazon Abanas.
Maraming salamat din at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Ito pong ipipresent ko sa inyo, ito naman yung perspective ng mga tao. So, nauna po yung the science of it, the identification of the species, and the scientific basis of the existence of the park. Ngayon, yung sa akin naman, ano naman ang iniisip ng mga taong nandiyan sa palibot ng GSIS Park? At yung pag-iisip na yan, inilagay ko sa context ng economics kasi ako po ay isang environmental economist. So, ang title po ng aking study ay Economic Valuation of the GSIS Park in Baguio City. So, medyo konting background or introduction. Sinasabi po natin na ang mga urban parks, forests, and open space are especially important from local, social, and cultural point of view. Pero kahit importante yan, hindi natin nakikita agad-agad. So, hindi masyadong nabibigyan ng panahon at hindi rin masyadong nakikita ang health and ecological values because these are public nature. And alam naman po natin na pag public, ang mga resources, walang market yan. And ang thinking lagi natin dyan, that is free. So the characteristic is non-rivalry and non-excludability. Walang pwedeng i-exclude sa paggamit niya. Kasi hoda, mayaman ka, o ano ka, basta free yan, pwede ako dyan. And pag ganon, nobody will take care of the resource. And most often, nagre-rely lang tayo sa perceptions of public value. Ay, mahalaga yan. Pero ganun lang. Walang matinding ebidensya or walang matinding argumento bakit mahalaga yan. So, kailangan natin na i-incorporate ang mga scientifically confirmed public goods and services of urban theme park space. Yun po yung ginawa kanina ni Ma'am Seni. Kinonfirm niya yung importance ng park by presenting scientific data. And to address the market failure of urban parks, may isang methodology sa disiplinang economics. Ang tawag natin dito, economic valuation. We will create a hypothetical market for the park. Kasi wala namang market for public goods and services. Importante ito para sa mga administrators, para sa ating local government. Kasi whenever we create a market for the park, because we want to preserve it, we want to lengthen its life, kailangan ng pondo dyan. At kailangan ng management yan. And therefore, it should be an integral part of urban management. Kasi sa point of view ng environmental management, green spaces are investments. They are also infrastructure. Hindi sila wala lang. They are also part of the investment of urban settings. And dito sa Baguio City, ang ating awareness ng value of the park ay makakatulong para ma-promote ang open space planning and management, especially when it requires resources to do so. Mahirap gawin ito, pero kahit mahirap, kailangan natin gawin. We can start from very simple valuation methods just to see kung sa paningin ba ng mga tao may halaga ang park na ito. Okay, so ano ba yung objectives ng aking part sa study na ito? First, I analyze the perceptions of people on the use and non-use value of the park. And after that, saka pa lang ako makakadetermine ng willingness to pay ng mga tao in a hypothetical market that we have created. So yung pong picture, kung makita nyo, ay ano ba yan? Ayun, may basura doon. Iba pa yan sa picture ni Sedi kanina. So kahit saang anggulo ka pumunta sa park, may basura. So the framework that I use is the use and non-use value and the willingness to pay concepts. These are concepts and models in economics as applied to natural resources. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng use and non-use value? So sinasabi na the total value that we put in a certain natural resource is composed of two major components. The first one is the use value, and the second one is the non-use value. Ano yung use value? Siyempre, obviously, ang use value, ano ang nakukuha mo dyan sa park na yan? The consumptive use of the park. So ito po yung kung may mga bunga ng prutas o may kahoy kang makukuha dyan, yan yung direct use. Ano yung indirect? The indirect is the ecological service of the park, like yung discuss kanina ni Senny. Carbon sequestration, water retention, soil prevention of soil erosion, at kung ano-ano pang mga ecological and environmental services that the park provides. Ang tawag doon, indirect use. Kasama din sa use value ang option. Ayan, option value. It's the value that we place on having the option to enjoy something in the future. Sa ngayon, hindi natin na-enjoy yung park kasi hindi naman tayo pumapasok. Hindi tayo nagpupunta dyan para mag-reflect, mag-exercise, mag-yoga, at kung ano-ano pa. So, hindi natin siya nagagamit, di ba? Pero may mga taong sa isip nila, may iba pang gamit yan in the future. And they want to be part of that other option in the future. Ang tawag natin doon, option value. Meron din tayong tinatawag na bequest value. At yan yung pinakamatindi. Gusto natin, ang mga anak natin, mawi-witness pa rin na nandyan pa rin yung GSIS park na yan. Dapat, by the time patay na tayo, andyan na yung mga apo natin, nandyan pa rin yung park na yan. Ang tawag doon ay bequest. There is a park na maipamana mo sa iyong mga anak at sa iyong mga apo. Hindi daw ikaw ang nakakita ng park na yan. Sila din, makita nila. And then, yung non-use naman, ang tawag natin dyan, passive. Ibig sabihin, the existence of such a park has a value kahit wala kang pakinabang. Kahit wala kang alam na pakinabang sa kanya, the mere fact that it exists is something of value to you. Regardless of whether you see it, whether you use it, importante siya kasi andyan siya. At marami tayong na-interview na importante sa kanila dahil andyan lang. So, gano'n. So, existence value. Halimbawa, yung Eagle Park sa Davao. Kung wala kang chance na makita yon, pero para sa'yo, importante pa rin yon, ang tawag doon ay existence value. The value because it exists. Okay. Ano naman po yung willingness to pay? Itong willingness to pay, obvious naman I am willing to pay for it. So for items na walang market, walang presyo ang natural resource na yan, we create a hypothetical market and we ask people, are you willing to pay for a program that will preserve this market? So ang willingness to pay po, hindi yan equivalent sa price. Kasi ang price, that is the minimum that a potential consumer pays for a product. May mga consumer who are willing to pay more, pero dahil yan ang presyo, di yan lang ang babayaran ko. Pero kung pinote mo na ang presyo mo dyan is 50% higher, I will still pay for it. Because the value to me is higher than the price that you quote. So yun yung ibig sabihin ng willingness to pay. People might be willing to pay for a certain natural resource. And even if you quote a price for that resource, they might be willing to pay more sa price na yan. Depende kung paano ang pag-value ng mga tao sa resource. So we try to estimate the willingness to pay using a very complicated statistical procedure, pero hindi ko naman na yan ipapaintindi sa inyo. Basta in the end, nakahanap tayo ng willingness to pay. So, ang pinaka-importante dito is people will only purchase the good if willingness to pay is greater than or equal to the price. So, ano ba ang methodology yung ginamit ko? So, I use a semi-quantitative survey at dahil nga po, kukunti naman ang mga environmental economists pa dito sa Baguio. So, yung akin ding mga students sa managerial economics ang tinuruan kong mag-conduct ng survey at mag-estimate ng, hindi sila makapag-estimate, nahirapan sila. Ako na lang. But they were the ones who natakot sila sa mga equation. So, kaysa naman mas stress at bumagsak sa subject ko, ay di sige, i-gather nyo na lang, and then ako na ang mag-estimate. So, ayan. And then, we had validations of the data through FDDs and KII. So, ito po ang mga na-interview. Ayan. Mga taga-military cut-off, DPS compound, and engineer seat. Mga taxi at bus drivers yung umiihi kanina. At yung mga nagtatapo ng basura yan, ang ating mga hinanap at ating mga in-interview para malaman bakit ba umiihi at umi-epak yan sa GSIS Park. Yan. Okay, so para naman po doon sa estimation of willingness to pay, so I use a dichotomous choice approach where the respondents are offered a random price to which they answered either a yes or a no para ma-predict natin ang probability of their willingness to pay. I created a hypothetical market kasi pinakita po muna yung mga pictures like yung mga pinakita ni Ma'am Sally kanina. Pinakita yung mga basura, yung mga taong umiihi, yung mga na mamamatay na puno. Ipinakita natin ang senaryo kung ano ang mangyayari sa GSIS Park over time. And then we said, kung pipigilan natin ito, pero para mapigilan ito, kailangan meron tayo, makapag-raise tayo ng resources para makapag-come up tayo ng isang programa para ma-prevent ang decay and deterioration of the park. Willing ba kayong tumulong? Willing ba kayong magbigay ng pondo in whatever form? So yun po ang essence nito. Suppose that the trust fund for the improved management and preservation of the park will be created and will be managed by a council dapat kasi mamaya makikita nyo why may mga distrust nila sa kung ano-anong mga pondo. So dapat council where they are represented. Composed of various stakeholders, would you be willing to pay X pesos as your contribution to the fund, where X range from 1 to 1,000, representing a reasonable amount of contribution from pre-test and FDD results. So may mga pre-test na pong nagawa before. And this is the, ito po yung mga Chinese characters na ginamit para ma-estimate yung willingness to pay. Ibig sabihin lang naman po niyan ay, we are trying to get the odds, the ratio of the willingness over those who are not willing. We want to say, how likely would a particular person would be willing to pay. The odds that someone is willing to pay. So, ganyan lang po yan. Pero huwag nyo na masyadong problemahin yan. Ako ang problema niyan. So, hindi kayo. And then, ito po yung pag-estimate ng willingness to pay. Yung mga nakuha natin dito kanina sa slide, kinuha ang mga anti-logarithms niya, at kung ano-ano pang mga mathematics sa at lalabas na yung willingness to pay. Maniwala kayo sa akin. Totoo yan. Totoo yan. Mahirap gawin. Oo. Medyo nakalimutan ko ang trabaho ko para kay Chancellor nung ginagawa ko yan. By Chancellor niya ako, pero pinag-research pa niya ako. Hindi, syempre. One has to suffer, di ba? Okay. So, bigyan ko kayo ng profile ng mga respondents natin. O, kita nyo, marami yung middle age, 22, 49. Pero meron din tayong young at meron din tayong senior. So, medyo okay ang representation natin. Ganyan ang kanilang employment, ito ang kanilang income, at hindi sila masyadong members ng mga organizations. Tinanong ko rin muna yung awareness of park kasi walang nakakakilala sa GSIS Park. Nung tinatanong, ano yun? Nasaan yan? kanilang park. Alam nila, ang dami nilang kilalang park except the GSIS park. So, pag park heard of or know, ito agad ang kanilang sasabihin. Yan, Burnham Sunshine Mines. Nagparang po ako ng 10 kasama ang GSIS. Pero hindi lumalabas ang GSIS dahil hindi siya kasali. So, ayan, heard of, ano ba yan? Sorry ha, medyo mahina na si Lola pag techie ang ano. Pag heard of or no, yan agad, Burnham Sunshine and Mines. Siyempre, Sunshine kasi malapit sa kanila. And then, frequently visited, Burnham ulit, Sunshine, and Malcolm. Lalo na daw po nung hindi pa siya nagawa kasi doon daw sila tumatambay pagkatapos mamalengke pag pagod na pagod sa bigat na pinamalengke. Upo ba daw sila doon tapos magkukwentuhan. So, ayan. And then, best visited, Burnham Botanical and Mines View. Doon po sa paper ko, naka-describe very detailed kung ano ang kwento nila tungkol sa mga yan. Pero hindi na natin pagkwento. Ito ang mga reasons nila for visiting parks. So, kontento sila sa sightseeing at makita lang yung landscape. Hindi kailangan meron silang gagawin. Makita lang, okay na. Ayan. So, yun ang number 1. Ito na ngayon yung perceptions of use and non-use value. So, tingnan po natin yung use. Makikita natin na ang matinding nakikita nilang use ito. Absorbs and traps carbon emission of vehicles. The score is 4.23. They strongly agree that this is a very valuable service of the park. Nung ginawa kong survey, wala akong pakialam sa ginagawa ni Ma'am Seni, kasi biology siya, hindi ko naiintindihan ang ginagawa niya. Basta ako, gagawa ako ng economic component, pero about the GSIS park. Pero nung magkita na kami kanina, para mag-compare ng aming 10%, parehas ang aming result. She highlights the carbon trapping ability of the trees. Yun din yung iniisip pala ng mga tao, na lalong-lalo na yung mga taga-military cut-off. Na it has a very high, it really absorbs and traps carbon emission of vehicles. And then I want to conserve the GSIS park so I can visit it again someday. Kasi nafuforesee daw nila na itong GSIS park in the future will be developed and will be a park that people could access to reflect, to rest, na parang pagka mainit na doon sa bahay mo or masigip kayo, punta ka naman sa park at mamahinga ka lang. Parang ganon. Without them doing damage to the park. So, ibig sabihin, they see future in this park. And sabi din nila, I want to conserve the park so that future generations could benefit from it. The bequest value. Gusto nila na maging mabuhay ng matagal ang park na yan para ma-witness pa rin ng kanilang mga apo at mga anak. Then, meron din silang sinabi na it prevents soil erosion and then it provides water retention because the roots absorb the rainwater, kaya walang masyadong erosion sa park niya. Of course, wala silang sinabi na makapag-jogging ka, wala, and it is a place for events kasi hindi talaga siya accessible. Pero nakita nila yung ecological service of the park, which confirms naman the findings of Professor Seni kanina. This is the perception of non-use value. So sabi nila, kahit wala gamit yung park na kapakipakinabang sa amin, may value siya dahil siya ay may cultural and historical value as the only remaining free park in Baguio. Sabi ng mga students ko, alam mo ma'am, nung nag-interview ko, merong isang matanda pa na umiyak kasi na-remember daw niya yung nung bata pa sila, nung magandang-maganda pa yung mga parks around them. So parang naiyak pa siya. Sabi niya, sana naman yung ginagawa niyong yan, hindi hanggang dyan lang. Sana kahit paano, makatulong para maibalik sana yung mga na-enjoy ko nung ako ay bata pa, sabi niya. So the mere existence of the park inspires these people. So, importante din yung non-use sa kanila. Ito naman na yung ating hypothetical market, yung willingness to pay. 85% of the respondents said yes. we are willing to contribute to a fund to preserve the park. Siyempre, merong willing magbayad ng over 700 pero siyempre, meron din namang mga hanggang piso lang to 100. Meron din namang over 100. Depende yan sa katayuan ng isang tao. Pero importante, they are willing to pay. Remember, it's just a hypothetical market. Tinitingnan lang natin. Who knows, kung makikita nila na meron talagang magandang programa, tataas pa siguro yan. Ganyan. Ito ang mga reasons nila, bakit? 79% personal and societal benefits from the GSIS part. Yung mga sinabi nila kaninang use value and non-use value, kailangan ma-preserve yung mga yon. Yun ang mga benefits na nakikita nila. And of course, ayan, yung iba, protection of undisturbed nature, concern for biodiversity. Kasi alam daw nila na may mga living forms yan hindi lang nila kilala. Yun yung pinakilala ngayon ni Prof. Seni. Siguro kailangan pumunta ni Prof. Seni sa military cut-off at ipakita ang mga birds at ang mga worms at ang mga trees so that yung sinasabi nilang life forms makikilala na nila. At doon mas ma-appreciate nila ang value ng GSIS Park. Concern for biodiversity for future generation and historical and cultural value. So, yung nakita nyo kaninang mga Chinese character na formula, matapos ko yung gawin ng 3 gabi, eto na po ang lumabas. Logistic regression show that respondents will probably pay a mean willingness to pay of 56 pesos. Kasi merong willing to pay more than 700, meron namang willing to pay piso lang or 10 pesos lang. So, ano pa to? Parang one shot ano lang muna, kasi suppose you are going to pay for a fund, gano'n. So, hindi walang time tayong inilagay. Kasi minsan pag naglagay ka ng time, yung regularity, medyo hindi muna sila, itong mga ganitong klaseng, dapat may follow-up ito sa susunod para naunti-unti mo yung kanilang mindset na, ay, meron nga yatang program. Okay, so yan po, ganyan lang muna tayo, nasa 56, pero ang ibig sabihin niyan, there are people who are willing to pay, and the 56 pesos is just an estimate, a ballpark figure, where you could play around if you are going to develop a program. Syempre, kailangan makita natin ang rason ng mga ayaw. Bakit hindi ako willing to pay? Syempre, sabi niya, the GSIS part is a government responsibility. So, it should be government. Bakit ako magbibigay yan? Dapat gobyerno yan. Which is a classic response naman, natin. Ito namang iba, hindi naman sa talagang ayaw nila. Kaya lang, syempre, mahirap lang ako Yung lang pagkain namin, hindi pa secure makabigay pa kaya ako dyan. So, yung mga ganyan. Then, para sa kanila, ang pagpunta sa park should be free. Because it is a public space. And then, no more taxes. Kasi nagbayad na ako ng income tax, dapat doon na yun. So, importante ito. If we are willing to win over those who are not willing to pay, then we must present a program that is credible. Diba? Then, we must make them feel that the money you put there, although 50 pesos lang yan, will be put to good use. Alam nilang makikita ang value kahit 50 pesos lang yung ibibigay ko muna in the meantime. So, importante na kinukuha natin ang reason ng mga ayaw. Kasi doon natin makikita kung ano yung mga options natin. Siyempre, tinignan ko din, ano kaya yung factors na nag-affect ng willingness to pay? So, yan po yung statistical data, pero huwag nyo nang pansinin. Ang ibig sabihin lang yan is income, age, and B. Yun po yung parang, di ba, tinanong natin, are you willing to pay X pesos? So, yung X na yun can vary from 1 to 1,000. So, ang isang tao, syempre, pag mataas yung kinote mo, are you willing to pay 1,000? Oops! Ganyan. Are you willing to pay 20 pesos? Oh, yes. Ganyan. So, in-estimate natin yan. So, we saw that people are willing to pay kung hindi masyadong mataas ang contribution. So, which is natural sa atin yan kasi mga barat tayo. Pag mura, sige, go. Pag mahal, that. So, yung itinrow ko na bead, may effect yun. So, the lower the bead, the higher the probability that the person will be willing to pay. Income, 3.88. The higher the income, the odd that a person with high income is willing to pay is 3.88 times higher than a person with a lower income, which is okay naman kasi you have resources to pay. And yung age, the younger a person is, the more willing he is to pay, which is consistent with the results doon sa use and non-use value. Marami doon sa sumagot na I want to use the park someday. I see that the park will be developed for some other uses someday. Maraming nagsabi nun yung mga bata pa. So, ibig sabihin nila, at nire-reserve pa nila yung mga future years na magagamit nila yung park. Kaya, if you are young, you are willing to pay to preserve it. Kasi magagamit ko yan in the future, baka later on, mga exercise area ko na yan, or leisure area, or ma-develop siya into a more full-blown park na hindi lang siya. Yan. So yung mga bata, may ganun silang iniisip. May stakes sila in the future. Kaya sila ay willing to pay. So, ayan. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? So, kung si Mita ang mag-sponsor ng isang activity, or it's the local government of Baguio who will come up with a program, sino ang mga itatap niya? Kailangan may kapartner siyang mga bata pa. Kasi they're the ones who are willing to pay. In other words, when you develop a program for nature, you have to look at all stakeholders. Hindi limited lang yung tingin natin. Kailangan malawak ang titingnan natin. Kasi sila yung mga partners na magiging effective collaborators mo. Ayan na yung sinabi ko kanina ng mga ads. So, ayan. Okay? So, anong mga conclusion natin? So, sinasabi ng result na ang mga respondents natin are aware sa use and non-use value of the park. So, ito na nga yun. On-use value, ayan na, yung trapping, and then the option and request. On non-use, yung existence. So, ibig sabihin, the people residing near the park and other stakeholders see the tree park and the rest of urban nature in it clearly enough to value them as elements of a well-planned city. And then, ayan, 85% are willing to pay, and willingness to pay is 56%, at ang ating mga factors are speed, household income, and age. Ano ang ating recommendation? So, given that residents and stakeholders attach values to the park, the local government, syempre, kasi it's a local green space, the local government should be actively involved in its preservation. I think it should be a highlight of the local government's programs. With the high cost of park management and preservation, the private sector needs to be more involved in urban park projects in partnership with the local government. So we have the Pinecone movement and the iba pang mga private groups na pwede talagang matap in developing a program. And then I think a strong policy support at the local level is needed. Ordinance yan o resolution man lang na talagang ang ina-address ay ang GSIS. Free park. It's also imperative to heighten people's awareness of the range of benefits from urban parks and other green spaces. Kasi nga, yun nga, yung mga umiihi, yung mga nagtatapo ng basura, sila yung mga hindi pa ganun ka-aware kung gaano ka-importante yung park na yun. Kasi kung aware sila, hindi naman nila gagawin yan.
Ako may sulat doon.
Oo.
Kung naman mas ma-lesson.
Kung mas malelesen yan kung mapapakutan, paglalagay ng toilet, at talagang merong active roving person, and that requires some time. Yung mga ganon. Kung gagawa tayo ng action plan to preserve the park, then it is a comprehensive plan that uses both physical and people means. Kasi importante ang bakod. Importante yun. Kahit pa may gwardiya ka, di ba? Si mamang gwardiya, no? Hindi niya kaya yan. So, kailangan talaga may bakod. Then, may tao pa. And then, may awareness ka pa. So, combination. It's really a mix of different strategies. But all the strategies should be packaged into one action plan. Ay, tapos na pala yan. So, yun. Kasi very important yung people's awareness. So, where do we go from here? Yun yung point natin. Given na ganyan, where do we go from here? Sabi ko nga noon, pinag-uusapan namin ni Prof. Seni, maganda sana may position paper man lang tayo na forward para mas ma-show natin yung ating willingness to be part of a movement to preserve the park. Pero pwede naman yan na part 2. So, siguro ang mga actions to be taken natin is yun na, we can as a community show our concern for the park and propose actions kasi yung concern mo should be translated into action. Di pwede concern lang tayo. Wala naman tayo gagawin. So, Ma'am Mita and the rest of the audience, maybe we can come up with a part 2 where discussin naman na natin ano ang next step. What is the action that we should take so that we could really move the preservation of the park forward. Yes, what is the preservation plan? And we can start naman step by step, but there has to be a plan to do it. If you want your children and your grandchildren to still see and enjoy the GSIS. So maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Professor Abansi. So, may I invite on stage Dr. Mita M. De Malanda, Trustee and Vice President of the Pinecone Movement for some minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to thank the University of the Philippines for having this forum and for inviting us to react. I would like to thank Dr. Zeni Owanan, who gave us the scientific side of the GSIS part and how important it is to preserve all our... There's a song before, don't you worry about the birds and the bees and something like that. But the reason I'm saying it is I'm thinking of Silent Spring, Rachel Carson, who in a certain year came up with a book and said, we have to preserve the environment without the pesticides. But now we are moving not only against the pesticides but against the concrete and all those who are building so many things and destroying the environment. I would like to thank our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of UP Baguio, Dr. Corazon Abansi, who gave us the economic value of the park and explained to us in layman's terms the use and non-use value of the park. And as Dr. Abansi has mentioned and Dr. Zeni Pawanan, the value of this park is actually the preservation of life. And if we preserve life, this is not only preservation of the plants and the animals, but of our human preservation. I also would like to thank our Chancellor, our UP Baguio Chancellor, Dr. Raimundo Rovillos, who heads not only UP but the Baguio We Want group, that is an umbrella group with with a lot of NGOs under it, Pinecone Movement, the Zero Waste and all. So when I was asked to do my reaction, I would like to share with you our vision in the Pinecone Movement, which will be applicable to this. So our vision is Baguio, a renewed and ever-renewing city in terms of matter and spirit, whose concerned and committed citizens uphold life-giving and sustainable practices. So here we look at spiritual, emotional, efficient, political, social, educational, and environmental aspects of life. Our mission, we will work towards a commitment in realizing this vision through protecting and preserving the environment, in gratitude to its past heritage and sustainable future by raising funds, accepting donations, cooperating with national and local government agencies, and other activities that will promote, and we will be conducting information drives and organized forums to discuss issues. So in connection with this, we would also want to accept the challenge posed to us by Dr. Abansi, and she said, what is the next step? I'm wearing many hats, not only being a faculty member of the Institute of Management at UP Baguio here, being part of Pinecone Movement, Baguio We Want, but also part of the Soroptimist International of Pine City. Many years ago, during the time of then Mayor Yaranon, he was the one who awarded the building in that park for the use of the Soroptimist International. And we have with us here the Charter District Director of Soroptimist International Northern Central Luzon, Filian Reagan Alan, in the audience. So if you see that office there, what are we supposed to do with that office? We are sharing it together with the Baguio City Government Tourism Office, and every time there are OJT students, we orient them, and the LGU of tourism, the head of tourism also orients them. So what happened was before, during the time of the past head of Baguio Tourism, we would receive a steady stream of students, for tourism students not only from Baguio, but from other places as well. And we would be orienting them not only on tourism, but also on Soroptimist. So what is Soroptimist? Soro means women, and optimist means best. So the best for women, helping other women be at their best by educating them and empowering them. So given all of these things, we believe it's not only us, but it's actually the youth. It is you, it is those who chose to spend your afternoon here that really care about Baguio. Because if you don't care about Baguio, you will not be joining such forums, fora. And after the fora, we're going to get together to, as recommended by Dr. Abansi, to come up with something sustainable. And Dr. Abansi gave us a very good model. She said if it's a committee, perhaps people would be wanting to contribute. And it's proven by her study. So we look forward to that committee and being part of it. And what have we done? In the past, the Soroptimist and Pinecone Movement have commissioned Mrs. Sally Pancho of the ERDB, which is the Environmental Resources and Developmental Bureau of UP Los Baños, and they did a study of the park. And they told us what are the trees that need to be cut, what are the trees that need to be treated. And so we went to Mayor Dumogan. And we asked, when we told him these are the results of the study, so can you please help us with the cutting of the trees? Because we went to the mayor because we were initially being charged about 250,000 just to cut dead trees. So he promised that he will not be charging us and he will be sending people who will be able to do that, but we are still waiting. So that ends my reaction. And I would like again to thank UP Baguio, University of the Philippines Baguio, the Cordillera Study Center, Pinecone, Baguio We Want, Soroptimist, and the all UP organizations. And all of those, the press and all of the students and the concerned citizens that are here. So, thank you.
Very much, ma'am. So the floor is now open for our open forum. So may I invite again our speakers in front. So audience, if you have questions regarding the presentations, you may ask them now.
I'm Filian of the Soroptimist. I was the district director of the Soroptimist International 2014 to 2016. And I'm very glad for the presentation of Dr. Seni because and also of the protection of the emission of 30% to the air. Because as a update with our President Mita, during the end of my term, because of that study, we were able to cut 103 trees which were dead and which were infested. And to know that you found 50% of the trees were infected. The reason why we have to cut was because when it is infested, then it affects the whole forest. That was the danger, because we were debating whether to cut or not at that time. But the recommendation was then to cut the trees to prevent the spread. And it is true also because they found out that the site of that convention center is where they have all this urination and garbage is along the dito mga SEPMO are here. So you were part of the cutting of the trees, right? They were part of the cutting of the trees, and we didn't know because based on the study, it was like 103 trees. But now you come up with 50% of the 500, so that's around 200.
So that means we didn't cut.
Yeah, we didn't cut all the infested.
Yeah, there are still existing.
Yeah, only we cut around 100. Yung mga iba kasi, maliliit lang na. Maliliit lang. The others are big, the others are small trees. So yun yung update after the report. And also for Dr. Corazon, I'm very thankful because it really challenges us also in Optimists to be able to further plan, especially that Mita is now one of the presidents of our club. So thank you very much. My question. With the result of the that you found after the cutting of the trees, do you think that it has drastically changed the ecology in the area when it comes to the living birds or even the species which are there in the ground? Because we are really, we have volunteers, as Mita has said, we have volunteers who come every once in a while to clean, and we do not know whether we're also taking away life.
Okay. With regards to the effect of the cutting of the trees, well, definitely there will be a reduction in the amount of the carbon that can be sequestered, because we can actually estimate that each tree can actually trap about 3,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide. And so when you cut down the trees, then there will also be a corresponding reduction in the amount of carbon that can be trapped by the forest, by the tree patch. But that explains kung bakit nagkaroon ng reduction doon sa number ng mga pine trees from 2016 to 2018. And doon nga sa recent na ginawang study ng aking mga students in disturbance ecology, they found out that some of the trees are still infested with Ips calligraphy. And nagkakaroon nga ng debate whether to cut down the tree or whether to do some intervention that will still keep the trees. And perhaps the representatives from SEPMO can also give their insights about this. And yes, regarding the quality of the soil, that's the mga basura and also yung pag-ihi nila dun sa area are also affecting the health of the trees. Kasi pwedeng yung acidity, for instance, ng soil na apektuhan. And yung reduction ng mga number of birds that are visiting, that's also quite alarming. Kasi dati, sabi nga ni Miss Jo Floresca, once na nag-birdie siya, in just an hour, marami na siyang makikita ng mga birds. But recently, nung nagkaroon na nga ng ingay, 3 hours kami nag-stay doon, 10 lang yung nakita namin out of the 24 birds that are frequenting the GSIS tree park. Yes po, lalo na nung nag-Sky Ranch. Yun nga po na nagkaroon ng Sky Ranch, 10 na nga lang po out of 24. So that's more than 50% ang medyo nagsashy away na doon sa tree park. And the birds would actually require a large area for them to actually stay in a patch or in a forest. So pagka maliit na lang yan, exposed sila, walang masyadong canopies, they would not stay in that place. And may effect yan doon sa mga other inhabitants doon sa tree park. So, thank you.
I was wondering if you took a look at the regular reports coming from the air pollution monitoring group.
Yes.
I think I'm not sure if it's EMBDNR or EMB, no? Yeah, the city government. I think. Yeah, we receive regular reports from the SEMA. If you notice, they do the regular monitoring near the patch, and the results usually are fair. In other words, the air is good. Maybe because of the forest, and that's one of the reports that we submit to national agencies. I suppose that's why they're saying Baguio is okay as far as air pollution is concerned. But maybe we should. I was wondering if we compare that area to CBD. I'm sure there's going to be. It will be different. Or compare yung heat na part na yan away from Baguio naman, yung Baguio, compare mo sa mas malayo sa forest. I'm sure it will be a lot warmer. No?
Actually, nag-request kami sa EMB ng report about the air pollutants doon sa mga monitoring stations. Kaya lang hindi naihabol yung data. Hindi pa available. Wala pang approval doon sa aming request. And pero yung previous studies noong 2012, we found out na actually mas mataas yung amount ng total particulates sa air as compared to the standard doon sa prior to 2012. Pero hindi nga namin na-compare, but once we get the data, then we can do the parang analysis.
As regard to air pollution, the worst part of the city is actually between the city hall in BCPO. Yan ang pinaka-worst na air pollution ngayon.
Saan po sa?
Sa between city hall in BCPO, yung market. As regard to the species in urine, I think that is the source of Aedes calligrapus. Kaya kung may nakita kayong umiigi doon o nagbabasura, itawag ninyo sa office namin. Ano number? Basta sip mo.
For 4-11-15.
Ayan, take note ha.
As regards to those infected trees, what we are doing actually, there's no cure for that. So, cut and burn. The remedy is cut and burn. But if you want to request that trees to be cut, you have to secure permit from the first. You have to ask permission from the GSIS because they are the owner. Then after that, we will evaluate the reason if it is valid. So one requirement actually there is the authorization from the owner so that we can cut those trees. Yeah. If you want those trees to be preserved, just continue to protest because we in the government cannot thwart the cutting of those trees. Once the GIS requested to our office and they complied with the complete requirements, we have no choice but to give them a tree cutting permit. So, with your help as a private individual, just protest and protest.
Excuse me, sir. The mayor gave us a permit with SEPMO. Pumirma po siya. I was with our district director, Philian Wagan Alan, and he signed it. No, you can have it cut by SEPMO. What year was that and how many trees have you cut, sir? Wala pa po, maski isa.
Well, I don't think there is a permit. Like what I would say, if the GS have no consent, we cannot give a permit.
It should be the
May
owner.
consent na po.
Yeah.
Pag si mayor po pumirma, kasama ko po yung
Hindi,
district director.
even the mayor have signed that, but if there is no consent from the direct owner.
Ano na po, 2 years ago na yata po, or 3 years ago, sir. The reason why we're bringing it up is because when UP made the study, dumami na po yung infected. Ibig sabihin po, wala pong naputol. Ibig sabihin po, wala pong naputol at saka na dumami pa po doon. Pero ang private group po, tumawag na po ng tulong sa ERDB Los Baños kasi DC po ang set mo. So nag-import pa po kami ng ERDB from UP Los Baños and from that area. Inakyat po namin sila, naggumawa po sila ng study at mabuti po ang UP gumawa ulit ng study ngayon. So nakita po namin yung difference. Naging worse po ang part dahil wala pong ginawa ang SEPMO.
Provide that document and we will work it out.
No,
Salamat
there
po.
was already this already.
No, I did not see any document coming from the
Okay, sir. So,
Mr. GSIS.
Kita ang may profile din ni dating
It has to be a request coming from GSIS.
Yes.
No, kami ang nag-request with
With their consent. Kasi, tracker.
Regarding dun sa comment niyo, Chancey, about yung sa data logger, medyo hindi namin nailagay dun sa may main sa Session Road, dun sa may main road, busy road, kasi yung data logger, pinaprotection natin baka mawala. Kaya dito lang sa may park at saka dito lang sa campus.
Additional question. I'd like to ask you, what are the considerations you considered in the computation of carbon stock? Did you cut the trees?
Ay, hindi po. Gumamit lang kami ng allometric equation. So parang may mga given na values on the above ground at saka below ground. Tapos by measuring the DBH or yung the diameter breast height at saka yung age ng pine tree, we can actually compute yung kung ilan yung carbon dioxide na pwede niyang ma-capture.
Because there are another ways to compute the carbon stock. One way is to get the green weight minus the wind dry weight.
Yan yung ginagamit dun sa mga underbrush. Sa underbrush, sa litter, at saka sa soil, yun ang ginamit namin. Kaya lang, it's invasive kasi you need to cut down. Hindi naman pwedeng putulin yung puno. Kaya what we did was an allometric equation. So we can actually estimate.
Actually, you can estimate that if you get the diameter
Breast
past
height.
5 years,
Aha.
then the diameter now. Actually, the growth is the carbon.
Kasi parang 50% ng any living form is made up of carbon. Kaya yun yung aming estimation ng carbon na naka-stack sa kanya while it's still alive.
So that's 559 per year, 559
Per year.
yes,
Ah,
kilogram.
kilogram. May tanong pa po?
Sa kinamitan kay Ma'am Philian because they've been working with GSIS. One of the recommendations is to come up with a comprehensive preservation plan. Is this possible with GSIS? Can a group of academics and NGOs and government institutions come together and come up with a plan and together with GSIS? Will they allow it?
Basically, it is give a little history. Why we have a contract? Because Optimist Pines has a contract with the city of Baguio under Mayor Yaranon. Because at the time, it was still owned by the city. Then after some agreements, they divided the property into GSIS and the city of Baguio with exchange to property in saan na ba yun? They exchange. So now that is a GSIS property.
So currently GSIS.
GSIS. Currently, even with the city administrator, when we requested for another contract with the district, they said that it's now owned by GSIS. So far, our experience with GSIS, we just make a representation because we write the national, and then we conduct business with the local managers. So far, we have, like for example, asking them to continue cleaning, doing this and that, doing some nursery, they still allow it. So we hope, but they do not like building structures, like yeah. But I think with the other activities, for the preservation of the park, it would
We
be.
can have a MOA with the GSIS.
It is very easy to ask them. So if you have a group like yeah, then maybe we can do that.
Actually, we've tried already communicating with the GSIS main office. I've already written a request that we will be coming up with a MOA. Di ba parang na-discuss ko na yun dun sa inyo, Chansey? And we even had a discussion in our college in order to adapt it so that it can be preserved. However, they said that you can conduct your studies there, you can bring your students there, but MOA will not be necessary. So that was their statement. Yeah, and then I also invited, meron po bang nakarating from GSIS? Parang wala yata. Wala eh, kasi we invited them, we even offered that we will be parang libre na yung kanilang accommodation, transportation, just so they can come here. But they said that they have equally important meetings, undertakings, that's why they cannot come. And the same thing with the Baguio branch. Sabi nila meron daw silang mga field activities, so they cannot come. And so I said that we're going to provide them with the results of our study, and that we will be giving them some proposals on how we can actually protect. And I've even asked them of their future plans about the park, but they haven't responded yet.
Virgil Manado po from Gwen, student din po ng UP Baguio PSI program. Yung sa study po ba ma'am ay conducted up until before na-build ang Sky Ranch?
Yes, before.
So, pwede po bang isuggest na magkaroon din tayo ng diversity study at biochemical study now that the Sky Ranch is here?
Initially, ang nakita namin na observation ay yung sa number ng birds na nagbibisit doon. That's a quick assessment. Pero makikita na natin kagad na meron siyang effect. And actually, may mga undergraduate students ako who have conducted also biodiversity studies in the past. Yung mga snails na bawasan. And then, parang mas dumami yung mga invasive na plants doon sa tree park. Kaya kailangan talaga doon ng weeding. And then, yung sa Sky Ranch, siguro baka ang significant lang na makikita natin na difference would be in terms of the birds.
Pero medyo hindi na po siya on the scientific side. Yung sa may economic side naman po kanina, alam naman po natin lahat na meron po naman tayo trade law na which in the short run maraming affected po. Yung sa willingness to pay po ba, directly affected po ba siya now that there are increasing ng prices ng ating other products? Parang kumbaga po yung point ko is, since meron na tayong trade law at nag-increase po yung mga presyo ng mga bilihin, directly affected po ba yung choice nila would they still be willing to pay for the preservation of the park?
Actually, yung issue ng trade law is a very complicated
topic. Actually, I did a lecture on that sa mga group na on the trade law and its effect on an ordinary citizen. Kasi nga yung percentages na pag bumili ka ng isang item, di ba? Pag bumili ka ng isang item, naka-ano na doon yung value added tax, then nakalagay pa doon yung other taxes covered now by train na hindi natin nakikita pero sa production process nangyayari. So, i-add yun. And then, so pag sinam mo in total ang effect ng train to an ordinary individual, there is a significant reduction in the income ng isang tao. And therefore, ano na lang ang maiiwan yung the net amount that he takes as disposable. So, disposable income. Ano na lang yung naiwan para niya gastusin? Siyempre, mauuna yung sa pagkain, mauuna yung sa basic necessity. So, willingness to pay ng isang consumer for services of a natural resource will significantly decline. Kasi last yan sa ating hierarchy of needs. Laging mauna yung pagkain, yung edukasyon, at kung ano pa. Panghuli lagi ang environment. Except for environmentalists and people who are aware and who are very conscious of the effects of the environment. Kasi long-term yan, saka invisible, quiet effects lang yan. So, hindi ka naman magugutom agad-agad kung masira yung environment because there are still other ways of securing food. So, yung willingness to pay mo, baka maging zero na lang kung i-add pa natin yung train. Because when we did the survey at that time, wala pa yung trade law, hindi pa na-impose. And ang pinakamatinding effect ng trade law is on gasoline, purchase of cars. So, syempre, kung may kotse ka na pinopondohan mo para sa gasolina at kung ano-ano pa, wala na talaga, kahit mayaman ka, wala nang maiiwan para sa ating GSIS par contribution. Saka sakaling makakapag tayo ng isang magandang action plan at mga kailangan ng suporta. Baka yung ating 56 pesos, mga 30 pesos na lang, kaya 25 because of the effect of trade law. But there are people naman who really value the environment. So kahit ano yan, kasi nga yung willingness to pay is your willingness to trade off a particular one versus this product that we are talking about. So if you're willing to sacrifice buying yourself a Christmas gift just to contribute to the environment, yung 50 ko, gagawin kong 1,000. Hindi na ako bibili ng bagong blouse. I-donate ko na lang sa group nila Mamita for that GSIS part. May mga taong ganun. Very, very sila. Or kung birthday ko, during my birthday, I will not spend any more for my birthday. I will just donate it for the planting of trees. May mga taong ganun. So, in general, an ordinary person's willingness to pay will decline. But there are exceptional people who would still contribute more. Kailangan mahanap natin ang mga yun. Yun ang duty nila, mahanapin sila.
In addition to, nag-usap na rin kami kanina ni Ma'am Cora about expanding our coverage of our research kasi we were inspired by these results. And maliit lang yan na batch, ganun na ka-valuable yung may contribute niya for the environment. So what more kung buong landscape? So we were thinking of doing an inventory of the remaining green space in Baguio City.
Si Navisyo Huwag from Gibraltar. Gio, napakaganda ang presentation natin ngayon, kaya kung pwede, may part 2. Yung pagpaplano kung paano natin ma-preserve yung GSIS park. So, nakalimutan ng kung sinabi kanina na they are also doing some measures na ma-preserve yung pine trees sa Baguio. Kasi pag nagpaputol ka ng isang kahoy, magtatanim ka ng 30 na seedlings as parang kapalit niya sa at saka pag kukuha ka ng marriage contract, meron din magtatanim ka ng dua desa. Ay bisa, dua ko matag, asawa na. So napintas tiya dawat tayo lang na no adati agda katitris kat agmulada inayon lang data GSIS prop na mulmulaan. Di lang tayo baga. Thank you.
May share lang ako na bakit ganyan po kasi ako no, taga-di pa ako. Maswerte lang akong nagkaasawa ng isang ibadoy na sa akin ang gwapo. Hindi nyo nakikita kaya So, I was from Lipa City and during nung nandun ako, I helped the local government under Mayor Bill Masasa. So, di ba pang artist na? So, I helped her because there is a malarayat bundok namin doon. And it is the source of water of Lipa City and the neighboring cities. And noon, we had a study I worked. Since mas ang expertise ko po talaga ay water hindi naman yung mga forest ganon. So I worked with the Metro Lipa Water District and I worked with the engineers and we found out that the water reservoir of Lipa is already and dati yung mga 10 meters na pole, kailangan gawin mo ng 20 for you to be able to extract water. So we have to preserve the Malaraya. So yung as parang advisor ako noon, in-advise ako si Mayor Bina, on your birthday, you bring all the artists here in Lipa and you make them plant the trees Malaraya. And I think that would be a very good So ganon, yung parang you find, hanap tayo ng isang way. Hanap tayo ng way na magagamit natin yung strength ng ating mga leaders para makapag-develop ng isang action plan na mag-work. So, ang nangyari noon, so talagang in-invite ni Mayor B ang lahat ng mga artista na they have to donate, to buy the seedlings, they have to plant it themselves, and then lalagyan naman niya ng pangalan, anak ni Richard Gomez. Anak ni ganyan. So, gusto nila yun, they like it very much. And so, parang nagkaroon ng malaking pondo yung city because itong mga tao na to, nag-donate ng malalaking amount of pera. Siyempre, hindi nagpatalo yung mga mayayaman. Parang sabi, mga artista lang yan. Kami kaya ang mga, dito, kami ang yung mga native talaga, kami yung mga pamilya dito, the old rich. So, hindi sila nagpatalo. Gawa sila ng sarili nila project. So, in the end, na-revive yung Malaraya and the water, ngayon, the water system is okay. Na-predict kasi yan na by 2020, wala na talaga and we will have to import water from somewhere. But as of the recent analysis, the water is still good to survive for 10 to 20 years. Kasi na-preserve yung Malaraya. It's a small mountain na. Nagulpin lang siya. So parang ito din ating part. So we try to find a way, a creative way to do this na ma-exploit natin ang mga tao na willing magpa-exploit. Hanapin natin sila.
Okay. So, good afternoon. I'm Aurora Alhambra. I'm a former journalist and then I went to the UN. But I'm back for now. I have a column at Sunstar at the moment, but I'm also a Sir Optimist, by the way. But I came here as a concerned citizen. Yeah. But before that, I'm also an alumna of UP. I was from UP Diliman and UP Baguio. Okay. So my concern is lately I bought a place because it had a very good view of an island with trees. Okay, and it's just west of UP Baguio. It's this Montinola subdivision. Okay, and suddenly, yung view ko, ang ganda ng view ko in the morning, I wake up and I see pine trees. And then suddenly, after Ompong, it's Half Moon Island sa Montinola. Okay, bigla ano na siya, may fence na siya. And then, naririnig namin na sa may magpapatayo daw ng condominium then right there in the island. So, I remember, because I was an environment reporter of the Philippine Star for a long time when I was based in Manila, naalala ko, there's a law na every park should reserve a space for a tree park or a park. Okay, and so that's why I came here. I like the topic. I'm into recleaning and refreshing Baguio. Okay, so that's why I'm here, and I'm very happy that one of the speakers said you are monitoring the remaining green spaces in Baguio. I hope you could look also into the Montinola because right now it's fenced and I even took videos of them cutting trees. And I really felt bad because there was this very tall paper tree. No, they just cut it, and it wasn't even in danger. It wasn't. It's not infested or anything. Okay, so I hope you could look into that, and also maybe you could include in your research. Maybe I could even help. I could join you maybe, and we could go around Baguio and locate the subdivisions, and if indeed they adhere to the law that says we should have a park within every subdivision. Thank you.
So, since we have no time left, so may I invite on stage Professor Leia Abaya, the director of the Cordillera Studies Center, who's actually behind the reason why we have this research. So, for her closing remark.
Thank you all for coming. I would like to say a few two items in relation to this lecture. First, I hope that the presentations also inspire us or to look into possibilities of engaging in this call for saving this small patch nearby UP. I know that this is just a small patch of forest, no, but we can start small and build from here. Now, the presentations would call for collective action, and I believe that the presentations will give you ideas of how to connect to people. Thank you for some of the statement of support. We don't need to necessarily register to UP Baguio that support, but we can also directly link to our LGUs or to SEPMO. We do studies in UP and we hope to continue these studies as well. And so I hope that the challenge, you take on some challenges as well to do your part in here after listening to the lecture. And we would like to continue this call for saving small patches of forest in Baguio, but this will only be realized within a collective effort, within a collective action from the UP, from the Baguio community. Thank you for joining us in this afternoon's lecture.
Thank you very much.